Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I stage a lavender wedding to hide our true feelings.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
All right, Remington. Still going strong into Pride Month, and I can't help but notice that you seem a little nervous.
Yes. Well, and once again, there is still the ticking bomb. And that's still in the room with us. It's still around. So.
Well, Remington, have you considered the fact that maybe I was just saying that to fuck with you this Pride Month?
I don't believe it would be a pleasant surprise, but I don't believe it to be true.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But there are only 2 episodes of Pride Month left.
It's true. So it's either this week or next week in for a rough journey.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, so far this Pride Month, we've gotten a lot of recommendations, which I've appreciated. Not as many as I would have liked, because I'm going to be honest with you, Rem, a lot of them were designed specifically to make you suffer.
Sure.
But today's anime is all about education, Rem.
Okay.
It's about educating you and myself, honestly, on a subject that we're not super familiar with, as well as a chance for us to talk about relationship dynamics.
Okay.
Because there's lots of ways to tell love and romance in a story, right?
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people have different types of relationship dynamics, you know? Like in your own relationship, Remington, you and your girlfriend have like a very specific dynamic that is very much on equal footing all of the time, and you guys are regularly pushing each other to do better and be good in general life, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
But there are some relationships that are very much weighted one side or the other.
Are we about to watch a BDSM anime, Shaun? Is that where this is leading?
Hilariously, Rem, we did get a few recommendations for anime like that. Specifically, one that I, quite frankly, don't ever want to show you because, like, my God, is it... Look, when you have the phrase gushing in the title, it doesn't lend itself to being a credible show. Too much. But, like, it was an option. I'm just gonna put that out there. No, Rem. We're not discussing BDSM today. I'm genuinely talking about relationship dynamics. As in, like, who takes the lead in some parts of a relationship versus others. Like, some relationships are very much like, this partner focuses mostly on, like, the clinical parts of a relationship. You know, they handle a lot of the, like, day-to-day life aspects, whether it's taking care of kids, cooking, cleaning, or whether it's going out and earning money for the home, or taking charge in social events. You know, like, there are lots of different dynamics out. And today, Rem, our community has asked me to instruct you about a very specific subgenre of relationship dynamics. That's not BDSM. That is not BDSM.
Okay.
Because you already know about that, clearly.
I'm excited to see what I don't know about. Let's see it.
And I've got to be honest, Rem, I only knew the basics of this as well. But, hey, Remington, out of curiosity, how do you feel? Would you ever consider yourself an alpha male, Remington?
Oh, no. Oh, no, Shaun.
What's up, Rem?
We don't need to do this.
We don't need to do what, Rem?
Oh, Red Pill Rollins back at it again, celebrating Pride Month with alpha males.
No, Rem. This isn't your Andrew Tate bullshit. No. Rem, like, it's okay if you don't see yourself as an alpha. I mean, you could always be more of a beta, and that's perfectly fine, too.
I truly despise this arbitrary categorization.
So really, Rem, you're feeling more like an Omega, I take it.
I think you mean Sigma, you fuck.
No, I mean Omega.
What the fuck is an Omega?
Well, Remington, that's what we're learning about
What
today.
do you mean?
Because today, Remington, we're learning about the subgenre of boy love, manga, fanfiction, storytelling, whatever, simply known as the Omegaverse.
What the fuck?
Have you never heard of the Omegaverse?
Oh my God. I think I have, Shaun. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. And what do you think the Omegaverse is off the top of your head?
Okay. All right. It's wolves.
You're at page 1.
It's horny wolves that really are all in on the falsified social signifiers categories, alpha, beta, I guess omega.
Yep.
Oh man, it's been years since I thought of it, and I had no interest in ever thinking of it again.
Oh, hey, neither did I, but apparently people want us to talk about it, so here we are.
It's horny wolves, Shaun. It's horny wolves.
Yes and no, right?
What do you mean, yes and no?
While you are correct in that the idea of the setting and trope comes from the completely fictitious idea of wolves having a hierarchy being of alpha, beta, or omega. No, that's not how it works at all. Turns out wolves just hang out with their families. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy who theorized it in the first place has spent his entire life saying, like, hey, no, this is bullshit. Stop that. But because of that, there has been a subgenre of, I suppose I can just use the Wikipedia term since I've got it open, and, it's speculative erotic fiction. Because, Remington, the idea of the Omegaverse is, hey, what if the world was basically the same as it is now, except there are essentially there's multiple types of gender and sex, essentially.
Well, sure, it's trying to do the, very popular 2000s and early 2010s thing of we need a sort of subcategory for everything. Every piece of fiction needs personality archetypes, right? Whether from fucking Hogwarts to Myers-Briggs, but now it's horny about it.
Yes. and specifically in Omegaverse stuff, a lot of times it is the baseline for a lot of gay fan fiction and fiction in general. The overall setting, it's a multiverse setting where someone can be an alpha, a beta, or an omega, and it determines a lot of their personality, but also whether or not they can breed. That's right, Remington. This is also an MPreg subgenre.
What are we doing here, Shaun? What are we doing?
We're learning about subgenres of queer media, Rem.
Are you telling me that there's an Omegaverse anime?
Yes! There is!
I thought it just sort of existed as it's fucked up
as a fanfiction thing, primarily,
yeah.
And that's what I thought too, until beginning of last year in the springtime when we got the anime, Tadaima Okaeri, which loosely translates to I'm home, everybody, which is an Omegaverse anime.
Why? When did it release?
2024.
Didn't it kind of miss the boat? Didn't it? I'm sorry, but isn't Omegaverse a bit older? I'm not saying it's ancient by any means, but it's not this decade. It's last decade, right?
I hate to break it to you, bud, but people still make Omegaverse content.
Well, I'm sure people do, but it's still a 2010s thing. And in my mind, it's an early to mid 2010s thing. It's not even a late 2010s thing.
I mean, yes, it is. It did originate in the 2010s, very much so. But just because something originates there doesn't mean that people can't still make content out of it. It's still there's still regular Omegaverse fan fiction.
It's just crazy, not just to make content of it, but to produce on a professional level content of it. That's the dilemma.
And the fact that it's not just hentai as well. This is not pornographic in any way.
That's yet to be seen.
Well, hey, we'll watch it and we'll have to see. But no, Rem, this is the Omegaverse anime that came out last year, and I'm gonna be honest, I made a joke about showing it to you last year during Pride Month. You quickly brushed it off because, why wouldn't you? But after I made that joke, it's when we started getting a lot of people asking us to review it.
Good God.
And I was like, okay, I admittedly don't know a whole lot about it, and boy, do the things I learned. But yeah, so the Omegaverse is just essentially like our world, but sometimes men and other people can have a secondary gender that allows them to reproduce and dictate some of their personality types. And the anime we're talking about today, Tadaima Okaeri, is about our main character, Masaki Fujiyoshi, his spouse Hiromu, and their young son, Hikari. And it's a slice of life story about them and their relationships.
What the fuck are we doing?
Happy Pride Month, Rem!
What the fuck's going on?
I don't know how I can be more clear than what I've told you, Rem. People wanted you to know about the Omegaverse.
Oh my god.
And occasionally, sometimes humans go into heat. That's just the way it goes.
I don't like it. Look, I'm fine with whatever fetishes you guys have, but why cloak them and pretend that they aren't what they are?
But Remington, on Crunchyroll...
When you're like, oh man, I'm so happy that this wolf boy is pregnant. Just be honest with yourself, all right? It gets your rocks off that the wolf boy gets pregnant. Just be honest with me. Don't be like, oh wow, it's really touching. No, that's not why you care about it. So why are we pretending that's why you care about it?
But Remington, the Crunchyroll description of this, the first line says, this is a heartwarming tale of love and acceptance.
Fuck off. All right. Okay.
And it's the family dealing with, like, their relationship that defies the standard Omegaverse culture.
Fucking wolf breeding piece of shit.
Don't get mad at me. I'm just doing what our audience wanted. This is a very prevalent subgenre of media.
But it's not really anymore. And it never was like super prevalent. All right. It was always a little bit on the fringes. Now it was popular on the fringes, but it's never been mainstream.
You don't think mpreg is mainstream?
I don't think that social hierarchical wolf mpreg boys has ever been mainstream in modern society.
I mean,
I don't think that's a wildly hot take.
I mean, Remington, it was even a plot line in one of those FNAF novels, apparently.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I learned that while researching this. Apparently, there is a MatPat mpreg FNAF book.
What the fuck? All right,
That's official.
I'm done here. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Well, you're not done, Remington, because we've got to go watch the anime, and who knows, maybe you'll find something to compliment about it.
Fuck up.
So without further ado, let's go watch some Tadaima, Okaeri. And we are back after watching the first 3 episodes of Tadaima Okaeri, the Remington's grand introduction to the Omegaverse and that specific genre of BL. So Remington, what'd you think? Did something awaken in you? Did you feel the call of the wolf, as it were?
Shaun, this show, it's trying to hide what it is, but I see through it.
Do you?
Right? I see it as the Tumblr soft boy yaoi version of 50 Shades of Grey that it really is.
Oh, hold on. Hang on, Rem. That's a pretty bold claim.
It's just, oh man, there's a lot that I don't like about this show, and a lot that rubs me the wrong way, Shaun.
Really? During Pride Month of all months. That's that seems a bit harsh, Ren.
Yeah, but I think it's adequate.
Well, you're gonna have to explain yourself, because I mean, for all you know, this show has an incredibly rabid fan base that's going to be very upset at you.
I am largely concerned about that, and it being like, there's the anime sphere, there's the yaoi sphere, there's the Omegaverse sphere, which then relates to the fanfiction sphere. All of those can get very heated.
Yeah, and what about the proper dream of raising a family together?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. There's 2 sides of this show, right?
Okay.
We can sort of split it. Half, well, not necessarily perfectly in half, but there's the chunk of it that is kind of just bland and whatever. And then there's the half that has me like properly side-eyeing, right?
Side-eyeing it.
Yeah. Because all right, here's the thing, right?
All right.
Let's talk about Omegaverse nonsense some more, shall we?
Okay.
And especially how it is then used here. I absolutely despise this weird hyper essentialist nonsense. there's something that this show does that's borderline miraculous, considering it's about a gay couple, right? And yet, so powerfully reaffirms traditional gender roles and norms. And that is bizarre. That's a bizarre thing to be able to do. You wouldn't think that would be possible, considering once again it's a relationship of two men, and really like there's at least one other guy is kind of, he's not in the relationship yet, but he's like he's on the periphery. And it's like, oh, that's not a very traditional relationship dynamic, and yet they have to make sure that it's understood that the one that is more submissive and feminine, essentially so, biologically essentially so, is labeled as the mother, is the one who gets pregnant, takes on a much more matronly role, and does all of these things. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? It's crazy. It's crazy that they're able to do that. I wouldn't think such a thing is possible, Shaun.
Well, I mean...
But they did.
Look, I'm not an expert on the Omegaverse stuff, so I don't know. Maybe this is standard, or maybe this is the weirdly neutered exception that made it into a publicized animated show.
Sure. But just the fact that this show is able to do that is crazy. It'll present such a relationship that on its face breaks standard norms, but really reaffirms them so powerfully. And I think that the essentialism is a huge part of that. And while gender has sort of been removed from it, with them both just being men, having this alpha beta omega thing in there, and having that be biologically intrinsic, and then they have the audacity to and I don't know if this is like a broader Omegaverse thing or if this is their own bit on it, but they have the audacity to be like, yeah, and you know what, those poor omegas heavily discriminated against. And you know what this story didn't fucking need? It didn't need a discrimination subplot. It didn't need that. And it feels so weird and strange and dumb and bad. It's one thing for, and forgive me, Shaun, but for to be like, hey, Zootopia, it's a poor metaphor for racism, especially because like predator and prey, that's not probably the analog you want to go down for that. And this, I guess it's more correlated to class, I suppose. But it's also, and the thing that I really can't get over, at its core, the alpha beta omega dynamic, right? It was forged in the fires of smut. It was that dynamic, it was because that dynamic can lead to sexier outcomes for people, right? They found that sexy, they got their rocks off on it, they liked that dynamic. And many people agreed, and thus it became popular, thus Omegaverse, right? And so it's weird to have just kind of this biologically essentialized, fetishized quality, and then for them to be like, oh, and also they discriminate against like some shitty YA novel or whatever, but instead of some arbitrary trait like they often do in bad YA dystopias, it's just a strange fetish. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can use that example. Our editor would kill us. I was going to let's see, Shaun, give me a fetish.
Just give you a fetish.
Yeah, you're a pro.
I'm a pro. Excuse you. If I was a pro, I'd be able to explain the nuances of the Omegaverse much easier. Look, in my research and trying to figure out what the appeal was, I found out about fucking FNAF Omegaverse stuff. I didn't want to live in that world.
Shaun, just give me a fetish.
Okay. Well, it wouldn't be fair to disinclude Dylan, so let's just go with the basic. Vampires. Since you compared it to 50 Shades earlier.
But see, vampires, that one, it has external context as well, especially like within narratives.
Okay, so you just want something straightforward. Okay. Well, I mean, I could have given you the Weeby one.
I don't even know if it would be as relevant for the purposes I have currently, but if you want to give a suggestion to possibly save our dear editor.
Well, the only one I can suggest is, it's a term that I think I've explained once before on the podcast called, I believe, Zetai Ryoku, or ryoki, something along those lines, where it's the space between the skirt and the thigh-high sock.
Okay, sure.
Let me
So-
make sure I have the exact translation of that real quick, just so I'm not fibbing. But that's like the go-to stereotypical weeb thing. Yeah, zetai ryoiki. There we go.
So without knowing anything about this particular fetish, we're gonna create 3 categories for it, right?
Okay.
Well, we're going to say that this is now a biologically inherent trait. Focused on that space between that little space between, and
Yeah, there you go.
thanks for the
Yeah, absolute
and, hey,
territory is the translation, by the way.
oh my god. So between the skirt and the socks, so we'll go, and this is actually will be useful, right?
Yep.
There are there'll be the thigh highs, the highs, and the ankles. All right. We'll say thigh high, knee, ankle.
All right.
Thigh, knee, ankle. Those are the 3 types of people in this world. And when you are born, you are either a thigh, a knee, or an ankle for the space between your skirt and your sock. It is determined. It simply is that way.
Yeah, and everybody wears skirts and socks.
Yeah. And if I were telling a story and I'm like, and I'm trying to like tell a serious narrative and I'm like, yes, well, see, people are against our love, for I wear thigh-high socks and you wear ankle socks. My father would never approve. Like, it's sort of hard when I know that this is really, it's really just about the fetish, right? At its core, that's what it was designed for. That's what we're talking about, really. It's really hard for me to be like, wow, what an unfortunate circumstance our characters find themselves in. Oh man. It's just very strange to me, Shaun. It's very strange to me to just be, to have a plot point that's, oh, look at all this discrimination faced against us because of our interfetish marriage. Like, I don't, and the show is a little, it tries to underplay like the sexual elements, right? It's not a fetish show on its face. It's like, oh look, a little family stuff, and which really it's largely foreplay for people to get their rocks off rather than actually getting their rocks off. But it has me side-eyed, and it's also wildly difficult to take seriously because the Omegaverse stuff, if it gets your rocks off, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, any kink or fetish stripped of its context is kind of silly. It's kind of silly. Because obviously it's important and meaningful and sexy for the people who have certain kinks and fetishes. But for those who don't, that's a lot less meaningful. And so what the fuck are we doing?
Well, what we're doing, Rem, is I'm introducing you into the world of this particular, I'm not gonna call it a fetish right now. This particular theme, let's go with, because people wanted to see what your thoughts were on it, and maybe to see if it awakened anything in you. I don't know. Our audience has some weird goals sometimes.
So this show, it takes all the Omegaverse bullshit. It also throws in standard anime bullshit, and it does the standard yaoi soft boy thing, which I do think, don't get me wrong, if look, any of our listeners out there, straight, gay, or otherwise, who cares? It's all right to be a soft boy, right? That's fine. A-okay.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody shame you for being a soft boy.
Yeah, there are loads of soft boys in the world.
Can we perhaps not infantilize and fetishize the soft boys? And especially, like, I mean, straight women are perhaps the most guilty of then putting that as a trope and being like, oh, I need a gay best friend who is just an ooh soft boy. And it's like, well, it seems like you're not viewing them as a person, actually. It seems like they're just an awkward role. Which then, like, between the soft boy nonsense and then the Omegaverse nonsense, it feels so objectifying in its hyper essentialism, and I don't like it. It all rubs me the wrong way. And if you're into it, that's fine. And once again, if you happen to have personality traits that match up in one way or another, that's fine. But this particular presentation of all of it I don't like it. I don't like it. And it's strange because even like the alpha is a soft boy. He's just a soft boy who like they're like, oh, you look murderous sometimes, and it's like not even a lot, like twice in the 3 episodes. Like the alpha is almost equally a soft boy as the Omegas.
It's that soft boy
Strange.
brush being handled very liberally, as a lot of different yaois tend to do.
Some people will be like, hey, Remington, why don't you talk about the story a little bit? There's not much.
There really isn't.
It's kind of slice of life, except sometimes, especially in the 3rd episode, it's trying to take itself more seriously, and it's kind of weird. It's just a happy couple with a happy baby who meet a misanthropic neighbor who their baby loves, and so they are bringing their neighbor in kind of to the throuple. It says I don't. Oh God. Also, it's just not a very interesting show, even separate from all the reasons why I'm like sus and side-eyeing it, right? Where I'm like, I don't know, that feels kind of off. That doesn't feel great. It's just not very interesting. The characters are all both melodramatic and bland, so they aren't doing anything interesting, but they don't feel authentic enough to intrigue me on a human level, right? And so they accomplish neither. There's this like saccharine sweetness that is simultaneously overwhelming yet artificial. It just doesn't feel legitimate or real. It just doesn't. None of it works out for me. None of it lands. The weird discrimination bit with the Omega's father-in-law who shows up and doesn't approve of the relationship is like, oh no, look, he's a great guy, but you should be within you should have alphas should stay with alphas. Fucking nonsense like that. Like, oh God, it's just bad on so many levels. And then also there's just like the dialogue is kind of trash. At one point they're looking at the baby, right? And Omega Soft Boy is like, oh, he looks, my dear husband, our baby Lee looks more and more like you every day. And the husband is like, oh, but he has your eyes. And the Omega's like, oh, you think? He categorically does not. Ostensibly he looks almost exactly like the Alpha. Has his eyes, has his hair. There is, if the Omega wasn't the one to give birth, then I would question their paternity. And then they'll just like occasionally delve into actual fetish shit, and it'll just be like, oh yeah, well, the Omega's in heat. And it's like, why? I don't. Why does it have to be a part of this?
Well, I mean, why?
It's like if you saw like, oh, this is a really nice animation, and then somebody like very slowly takes off. Once again, sorry, Del, takes off their sock and then like shows their feet. Then the camera lingers on their feet for way too long, and you're like, is this kind of show? What the fuck? What the fuck is that? The Quentin Tarantino move, if you will.
Yes.
Where it just in an otherwise you're like vibe with the narrative, and then that happens, and you're like, what the fuck? Wait a minute, what the fuck was that?
Look, Rem, I'm under no illusions here. I knew this was gonna be a bit of an uphill battle for you. But I thought maybe there was a chance that this could have had something for you in it. I don't know what your usual tastes are, Rem, because like we don't usually get deep into topics of your particular proclivities. But so I thought maybe this would be a chance for you to try and connect with a specific subsection of our audience.
Maybe a reason why the Omegaverse rubs me the wrong way to such a high degree is it feels like what would happen if Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson were all in on Tumblr in their development.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And that's just how that would pivot. That's just
Oh God, that's horrible.
I agree, it's horrible. It's one of the reasons I don't like it.
That's
because it's like, look at these biologically essential hierarchies. And it's just like, oh God. And it's like, oh, it's fine for fiction, but then when you're like, oh, but look at these relationships based on these biologically essential hierarchies, aren't they something to greatly desire and place upon a pedestal and yearn for? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think that's it, fam.
Oh, goodness. So you're saying that there's nothing in this particular show or the overarching idea that can be translated to good storytelling or genuine human interaction.
Yeah, no, yeah, look, this show's just a fucking mess, dude.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Rem. I'm sorry.
I genuinely, it's like the only thing this brings to the table is the only thing it does that's mildly novel is bringing the Omegaverse to anime, and that's that's the only novel thing, and I don't think that's a great decision. I don't think that was necessary.
Hey, it's novel because it made its public broadcast. That's I don't know for certain because I didn't do that kind of research on it, but I don't think there's many shows out there that like I don't know if this is the first Omegaverse anime is what I'm going to say. It's the first one I could find that is, that was publicly broadcast.
Yeah.
Who knows how many other 18 plus properties there are out there. But I have an obligation to never show you straight up hentai. So, I couldn't exactly bring one of those to the show. And this was the first opportunity to do that, to gain your perspective on things. And
I have such a hard time figuring out, and this will be a fine transition. I have such a hard time figuring out what anybody would feel about this show, like how other people are interpreting this.
Well, I mean, I can definitely help you with that because, Rem, any guesses on what the mouse score for this is? Because I'm curious to see what you think it is.
All right. So unfortunately, here my starting range that I'm going to try to refine.
Okay.
Is gigantic.
I mean, yeah. This is quite literally the newest territory we've ever covered in Pride Month.
This could be anywhere from like a 6 to an 8. It hits the anime beats just right. So I think that on that front, most of the weebs will be satisfied. The plentiful homophobic weebs won't, but that's just par for the course for them. And then a very small minority will see it as I see it. Some people will find it bland, which I think is reasonable. I don't know whether it'll get a bump or whether it'll get buffed or debuffed by the Omegaverse stuff. Because on one hand, it's like a lot of people could be turned off by it, right? And be like, that's cringe or bad or stupid or dumb, etc. On the other hand, anybody who's in that sphere is going to be hyped as fuck. Oh man, this is a tough one. It's gonna be higher than I want it to be.
I mean, well, hey Rem, I think that's like the subline of your autobiography when it comes to our podcast.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I think it's gonna be in the 7s. 7.51. I don't feel great about that, but I'll commit to it.
So that's your final answer?
Yeah, it's all over the place. I got no idea.
All right. Well, Rem, you're right about one thing. When the show came out last year, not a lot of people watched it, and not a lot of people were willing to review it. All right.
Oh fuck! That means the only ones who were the Omegaverse stans.
Well, not necessarily, but, I mean, fuck, I watched it, but that's because I had to watch it for this show.
Yeah.
But this, so it only has 14,500 ratings, which is incredibly small, even after a full year. So, that's not great for its numbers in your scaling. But with those 14,000 ratings, Tadaima Okaeri is sitting nice and pretty at 7.74.
Oh.
And yeah, which I imagine is much higher than you would like.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it is a very heavily weighted at the top end. Like,
yeah.
If I show you the stat line breakdown of it, it is very much the people who absolutely despise the show are in the minority. But then again, of the people that watch this show, a lot of them went in going thinking, yeah, I'm probably going to like this. Like 50% of the ratings are 7 and 8, with with another 30% being 9 and 10. So it is pretty top heavy. And as far as written reviews go, there aren't a whole lot. A couple mixed feelings, though some of the mixed feelings have the tag well written on them, which is something I feel like you would take umbrage with.
Yeah. Once again, it's just, even separate from the shit I'm side-eyeing, I really need to reemphasize, it's bland as hell. It's just not that interesting. It's only interesting if you use it as a diving board for your fantasies, right? Where you jump off of it and then let your fantasies run wild. Otherwise, I genuinely don't know what the fuck it's just not, it's so dull.
Yeah, and I thought about showing you more episodes, but genuinely, I didn't think episode 4 and 5 really had much else to it that would have swayed your opinion all that much, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some things escalate a little bit, but not to the point that all of your reservations about everything would have been dissuaded, essentially.
Yeah, if I never have to hear about an Omega's pheromones as they're about to go in heat, then it'll be great.
I got some bad news for you, Ram. Considering the podcast we make, it would not surprise me if we get emails explaining all of the pros and cons of the Omegaverse, and I will gladly accept them, and if we get enough, I'll even read them to you, because I know for a fact you would refuse. Because
oh my God.
This genre has a long history. Well, I mean, 10 years, but in internet time, that's a long history, and that's a lot of shit that's been put on the internet.
I just feel like what's gonna happen is a version of the famous ProZD bit of like weebs defending the boob window, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this time with the Omegaverse, and it'll be a strange thing where it's like, I mean, we can all, at very least, our baseline must be the same, that it was forged in smut. That these are the origins, right? We have to at least agree on this, right?
Like the fires of Mount Doom, this anime was forged in smut.
Like, there's going to inevitably be people who are like, Remington, you just don't get it. It is this, you can't just view it as smut, it's transcended that. We at very least, they have to acknowledge the agreed upon origins. We have to at least start there. And then my argument would be something along the lines of, I can see that it is somewhat trying to transcend it. However, I do not believe, if that's even the goal, that it succeeds on that front. Once again, I don't think it would be talking about pheromones and going into heat if that wasn't at least still a part of it. It's kind of in the DNA.
Well,
it's kind of just there.
I mean, you could call that world building. Yeah, sticking to the themes, because this could be somebody's first exposure to the Omegaverse.
Sure, and similarly, you could be like, you could take the whatever the fuck the weeb fetish was.
You literally have it in your Discord, so you can read it. Zetai Ryoiki.
Yeah, you could take that, you could build world building around that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could dress it up in all sorts of different ways. Maybe you're like, oh, and in our world, sock color is extra important, right? You could do whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, we all see where you're coming from. We all see where you started from. And it's real difficult. Look, can I make an unfair comparison, John?
I feel like even if I said no, you would make it anyway. So go for it.
I would.
You have my express consent, which is very important when we're covering anime like this.
All right. Should I do the more tasteful or less tasteful version of this unfair comparison? I'll let you decide.
I don't know if I want you to put that evil on me, Rem.
So it's totally up to you.
Which would be funnier?
Who knows?
Do the funnier one.
I don't know which one's funnier. Make a decision. Make a choice, damn you.
You're asking me to make a choice on how you degrade me. Like,
I'm not going to be degrading you.
All right, cool. Then go as tasteless as you like.
So it's kind of like if notable former Subway spokesperson Jared Fogle, right?
Okay, all right. I regret my decision.
If he became like world class at shot put, and you'd be like, oh man, what a talented athlete. But in all of those conversations about him being a talented athlete, you'd also be like, yeah, but also. Sure, he's good at shot put, but I haven't forgotten where he was before that.
We haven't forgotten the
haven't
sandwich
forgotten.
incident.
I haven't forgotten the other stuff.
No.
And it's just a case where it's like, hey man, you can try your damnedest to make a completely non-sexual Omegaverse show, but at its core, I don't think you'll ever be able to divorce it from the history and from its origins, which were created fundamentally to be horny. I just don't think that's possible. And I think that, if anything, when it's horny, it has a better defense against being problematic, right? Because it's like the weird biological essentialist hierarchy, when brought into a more normalized narrative outside of smut, that becomes very problematic. But if it's just like for smut, you're like, well, yeah, it's all bullshit, but it's what gets my rocks off, you know? So, lots of people have fantasies that, yeah, sure, when brought out into the real world or in like a standard narrative context, would be immoral or problematic in one way or another, but it's what gets their rocks off. So, you know, that's how it goes. But when removed from that context, it is prone to a greater scrutiny.
So then, Rev, do you think there is any fetish that could be turned into a full world with well-written narratives that could theoretically be divorced from its origins?
I don't think it would ever be able to be divorced from, because it's either, if the origins are inherently smutty, right, then the only way to transcend it is to perfectly transcend the origins, and to do so is to create a product unrelated to it. Like, that's it. Maybe through decades of cultural osmosis, you'd be able to.
So what you're saying is we need enough Omegaverse content to make it into the cultural zeitgeist that it's not addressed the same way it is anymore.
Basically, what would need to happen is like the Omegaverse dies out completely, right? And then gets rebirthed in almost entirely a non-sexual context, with many non-sexual narratives, so that culturally people learn of just that, and then it'd be like, hey, did you know this used to just be sexual? And people would be like, oh, that's crazy.
Like Victorian women in ankles?
Yes, precisely. Like, it needs to have a period at some point where it's not sexual. The problem is, Shaun, if I were to look up Omegaverse fanfiction...
hey, wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, something tells me it'd be pretty easy to find stuff being written in 2025 that is horny as hell. Like, it's hard to divorce yourself from the context when the context is still surrounding it. like it would be as if Subway were like, hey, we would like to apologize about our former spokesperson, shame on us, while also still running the app. If they were still running those same ads, maybe they're also running different ads too, right? But if regardless, it's like, well, yeah, but you still got those ads up, so it's like, kinda, who gives a shit what you're saying?
Yeah, and for those who are curious, on AO3, there are currently 46,806 works under the Omegaverse tag.
Can you see how many have been written in 2025, or just like the past year?
Well, the most, Jesus Christ. Apparently, June 19th was a good day for the Omegaverse because 10 different stories were put in there. Let's see. I can't see a specific number, but let's see if I go. Holy fuck, hold on. Let's see. I have never used AO3, so this is a learning experience for me. Let's see. Sort by date updated. Oh, that's just date updated. Let's see. Date posted. There doesn't appear to be a timeline sorting. Well, shit. Let's just sort it by date posted. And, okay. If I click on, let's say, page 7, are there still work? Oh, yes, there are. Oh, wow.
Okay,
I'm on page 15, and
Jesus
I'm still
Christ.
in June.
I do have one brief question before we properly end things for our resident Omegaverse expert, Shaun Rollins.
Hey, trust me, I'm anything but.
So alphas dominant, omegas submissive, betas, are they truly just other?
It's more like either or.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely like
God.
a bit of a middle ground, more or less, because they are quote unquote the neutral, and I just, I pulled up a random chart, and the first thing that it says at the second thing it says about betas is, that's a little too blue even for our podcast. I'm not going to read that. Something about physically incapable, which I don't
What
want to go
the
into.
fuck?
I don't want to go into the details of that. I really don't want to go into the details of that. I'll leave that for our lovely audience, who are the experts in the Omegaverse stuff, to let us know and enlighten us. Tell us more. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you can slightly blame, one, you have to blame the people who sent us in the requests after I made an offhanded joke a year ago about showing the show to you. But you can also point a couple fingers at Erika Ishii and Abriya Iyengar, as I listened to a short mini podcast of them explaining what the Omegaverse was to
Jesus Christ.
Brennan Lee Mulligan and oh god, I almost said Iffy. That's not Iffy. I'm too busy thinking about actually Lou Wilson. Don't know why his name escaped me for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I listened to a podcast of them excitedly explaining it to their bewildered confusion, which, let me just say, I got a very similar reaction from you, and I appreciate it. So really, Rem, it's not my fault, is what I'm trying to say.
I guess the thing for me, and this is a recurring theme on this podcast, right?
Uh-huh.
Look, whatever gets your rocks off, sure. As long as it ain't hurting anybody, that's fine. But when brought out into the real world, either through your interactions with others or through popular stories that you are sharing with the general public, then it will be under greater scrutiny.
And that's what you are, Rem, is the greater scrutiny of the Omegaverse. That sounds like a fucking JRPG boss title.
It does. It really does.
Like something you fight in the third act of a Final Fantasy game.
Oh, fuck. It's the greater scrutiny
Of the Omegaverse.
of the Omegaverse.
Oh, God. Well, then, I guess my final question I need to ask you, Rem. Is there any chance you'd like to watch any more of Tadaima, Okaeri, or any Omegaverse titles if they ever come out in the future?
No. Things, look, it's possible that there may be stories that are good and worthwhile despite their Omegaverse qualities. I'm wildly skeptical that there would be any that I enjoy because of those qualities.
So if you think there's one of those stories, please email us at animeoutofcontext@gmail.com with the tag, in the subject line, hey, Omegaverse smut for Remington. And advise him where to skim past so he doesn't read too much of the smutty stuff. Oh, God. But with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Remington discovering a whole new multiverse that he had really no idea existed, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, whose pheromones are putting Shaun in heat. And on that list,
I beg your pardon?
No, he wouldn't be uncomfortable if he didn't feel like this was uncomfortably sexual. On that list are Yandere Neko, Wolfire56, Why Does Everything Want Banana Shaun? Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, here for Shaun's Hot Takes. Week 16 of using my Patreon name to request code geese. Watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Variant, totally good. Titan CNH. The Susanator, the sperm cell reaching for Shaun's unbreakable egg. The Opie Wrangler, formerly known as Mommy Milkers. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Rornor Zoro as my navigator. The Capybara hurt Shaun as the documocker of Judy in the Pope's robes he prays to every night. I mean, that's true. I've seen it. It is his favorite. But man, has it gotten crusty.
God.
That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weeb. Has no place in Fairy Tale's 100 Girlfriends. Turban, Swaraj Verdi, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom. Sometimes the cucumber tastes better pickled, says Shaun. Shaun wants to give Spoonman a thank and yank. Shaun's first Eggfest, #transgender Shaun. Shaun ruined my App Sugar life when he announced his 2028 candidacy candidacy for president because orange just wasn't red enough for him.
Christ almighty.
That's right.
First
Shaun
of all, that's
is on the records. Shaun's on the record saying the current administration is too woke for his liking.
God. First of all, that was a good joke. Second of all, I want to die. I think death is... I'm going on a car trip tomorrow. I might just drive off into the desert.
He's never coming back, folks. Shaun's heir apparent. Shaun, there's a non-0% chance you are the reason people take that information. Wait, there's a non-0% chance that you are the reason people goon take that information. However, you're like, yeah, somebody says goon to him.
I think more people would be interested in Remington, though, if I had to guess.
Hey, they can goon to us together. Shaun is inviting you all.
I feel like there's some overlap there that I don't want to get into. Speaking of overlap, Rem, did you see the fan art that got commissioned recently?
Oh yeah, I'm happy for you.
I love that we're supporting artists. Two, man, am I conflicted.
Shaun soaked the Pope to death while Rem watched. Shaun, shoot your shot with the girls 60% of the time. It works every time. Shaun, quit soaking with my grandma, please. Sarah from the Shark plushie, Ryan Moody, Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams. Remington is right. Remind me when we record again. Rem used the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Venom, Red Pill, White Cum, and Blue Balls are all in.
You know what? That desert trip seems more and more appealing.
Oh, fuck. Red Pill Rollins in Tate making sweet, sweet love. Professor Fox. Pro tips out of context says run out of things most will come back soon. Princess Cialis likes brushing teddy demons. PJSK Addict encourages Alien Stage for Pride Month. Week 7, the creator released a short comic and it made me very sad. Panda. Paco Musico. Moridic. Mikeka7 Hierto. Maya thinks it's time for Haikyuu revisit. Macaroni Chiza. Lucky Stars the King of Moe. Link Jokerl. The Nerd 98. King Rich Rock. Katie. Cassidy. Jax. Jam Hands. Jake Dent. Inside Miska there are two wolves, and by wolves I mean donuts, says Miska as she washes them down with milk tea. See, that's... Who needs wolf hierarchy? Give me donut hierarchy, alright?
Careful, Ren. They're gonna start asking how many donuts can you stack on it.
Oh, Jesus. If you think about it, Rem's the bottom of this duo. I'm making Rem say ethnic slurs until you bring back the Chef Namusco to your Shaun, you fucking white dog cunt.
You're just
never
adding
get
words.
More Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I took a wrong turn, do you know the way?
Oh, wow. 2017. It's been a while.
Rem can confirm that Shaun voted Trump. Hashtag Redfield Ross. Hashtag make anime great again. I can't believe I made an account for this. Hit point. Gordon Ramsay's raw sausage. God. Glenn Michael Dolan. G.E. Bottom, aka Bear Trap. Vacation next week, but dog pick in Discord Cerberus. Might miss a week or two. Hell yeah. Good dog. Fern the Fern. Farmer Weeb wonders if we should have seen the sign since Shaun's favorite love is a cop.
It
all comes together.
I hate when Remington's bits converge.
Being with a cop and the Pope, like, we should have seen it coming. Fantide, Erica McCorkle, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rem, tell me a bedtime story about Shaun's nut, Calderius, Cheese Monkey, Brockhart for you dudes, Ace Attorney, Yowie, wait, this isn't Google. Boring Siren, Blarf, Bento Kato, Amazing Muffin, Aishigachi, a Moe piece of trash. That long stretch of silence was, in fact, a patron name, just to clarify.
Wow, all right.
that stretch of silence was right there. It was a patron name, so...
I guess they just wanted to give you a breather.
At the very, very end, and now we move on to the boy wizard tier, where this week, Shaun, like the good sorting hat he is, will tell you whether you're an alpha, beta, or omega.
I was thinking of doing something similar, so...
Yeah, there you go. On that list, we have your friendly neighborhood commie.
What a name to start out with, huh?
Yeah.
Let's start out with Alpha.
Umbrasite.
Alpha.
Truckun operator number 42.
Beta.
Titaro would love some Sword Art Online, please, for the gays.
That's an alpha.
There's that one Yuri Fate.
Omega.
That Mouse Girl.
Beta.
Spoonman the Aristocrat.
Omega.
Silent Secondary.
Alpha.
Sammy K is here to remind you that you just lost the game.
Omega.
Roscop.
Omega. Rem
still needs to watch Bandori, It's My Go and Ave Mujica, or else Kasumi will keep singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Alpha.
Power Cell Bake Sean to stop soaking in his low bunny. He still has a couple gym badges he needs to earn.
Omega.
Nurikaza, hashtag SONR soaking One Nut Rollins.
Beta.
Monogatari tree is everything you ever said you want in anime. This week, the MC has one bad character trait, but he knows.
Alpha.
Mike.
Alpha.
Miguel Delion.
Omega.
Lieutenant Beagle wants One Piece live action on episode 400.
Beta.
I'd like to start a petition to replace the word brat with kudere.
Omega.
Hidden Otaku.
Beta.
Domine, not drunk this time. Watch Trigun, because it's fun.
Alpha.
D.
Alpha.
Carver 271.
Beta.
Beethoven 1201.
Omega.
Allfather wishes the community a happy Pride Month. This week's anime will be the first for Pride, so it better be good, Shaun.
Alpha.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun will continue assigning roles, but this time different Greek letters that are not alpha, beta, or omega. And I, as Joey Wheeler, will tell you what that means for your personality. On that list, we start out with, shout out to the girls with the blue, pink, and white flag in their bios. Y'all are so pretty. I wonder what country you're from.
Oh, that's pretty good. Let's go with Zeta.
Zeta, and obviously what that means for you is that you like three things in this world more than anything else, all right? You like quiet time with a good book. You love hikes with great views, and you love Shaun Rollins. Next up we have next up we got, I imagine Shaun's sex life to be similar to a blind man watching porn. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but it sounds offensive.
I don't either, but I think this is the most hurt I've felt from a Patreon read in a hot minute, and that's with the Red Pill Rollins shit. Okay, I guess Kappa.
Kappa, you are deep down in your heart, you are the big titty goth GF. Last but not least, we have Follow Anime Out of Context on Blue Sky. Let's play Guess Shaun's Business Email Week 2 at gmail.com.
I should register to that Gmail. That's a funny ass Gmail.
And then of course on the Blue Sky, if you wanted to see the art that was commissioned for Shaun, it's there on the Blue Sky right there, you know, so the world can see it.
Yeah. Again, always support artists, but man, and they can have Delta.
And what that means is that you are planning the murder of 2 out of 3 hosts of Anime Out of Context. 2 out of 3 of the people involved. Is it me and Shaun? Me and Dylan? Dylan and Shaun? Who knows?
Let's be real. Let's be real, Rem. It is gonna be you and me.
Yeah.
like of the 3 of us.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can send an email over on to animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do.
I don't know, to have a good time, find something neat, put $1 in a slot machine. I don't fucking know, man.